Welcome everyone. We're here in this beautiful day, windy day in Cannes at the Horyou Village, connecting for good, the social network promoting positivity, quality content, meaningful interactions. So we have a very interesting panel today. We're going to talk about cinema and how cinema is helping the world to move, forward in positive ways. With me, I have Vincent, and he will be helping us to moderate this panel. So Vincent, why don't you let us know who's here and introduce them and start the conversation.
With a big pleasure. We're here today with Elma Widad, who is an actress as well as a godmother for non-profit in Morocco and in France, with Farah Faizan, who is producer, with Trevor Miller, who is writer-director, and with Kamal Akhtar, who is as well writer-director. We're going to start with the general question, which is what brings you at Cannes? So, Elma, what brings you at Cannes?
Je suis là en fait pour promouvoir La Lisière. Et c'est un film qui est actuellement au marché du film. Et je suis aussi là pour Innocence en danger. Je suis ambassadrice de cette association qui se bat pour les violences faites aux enfants et la maltraitance et les abus sexuels.
Okay, so she's here to defend her movie La Lisière, and in order to advocate as well as a godmother for two associations, Innocence in Danger, to protect children, and another one that I forgot the name, I'm sorry. We'll cut that anyway. So, Kemal?
Kamal, what are you doing here? I've got a film on the market, which is not completed yet. It's taken a few years to make. It's a film about Nelson Mandela and his family, and we had the privilege of shooting the last interviews that Nelson Mandela ever did in Johannesburg 4 years ago, and it's been converted into a film with the editors of Senna, producers of Senna, Man and Wire, and The King's Speech, and it's quite a special film. It's quite an event film. I co-directed and co-produced it with Nelson Mandela's grandson, and hopefully it will be released by the end of the year. I'm also preparing, pre-funding the next project I'm doing, which is going to be filmed in New York, Back to Drama. And Cannes is a time that you put a lot of pieces together and see how they turn out. So it's like recipe time. What kind of dish am I going to make today? So Cannes is a wonderful time. It's a hard time, but you always end up remembering it. For a few days, anyway.
For sure. Definitely packed, huh?
Yeah, if you can remember it.
Definitely. Thank you. And you, Farah, what brings you to Cannes this year?
Okay, so I was exec producer on a film that's been on a platform release with Sony Pictures since September. It's called The Third Person with Liam Neeson and Mila Kunis. It was directed and written by Paul Haggis and produced by Michael Nozick, who made Syriana. And, that was the first major film that I've had an experience with. And, I got to work with some really great filmmakers. And, film being pretty much the most powerful medium in the world, I think can bring about a lot of good and in terms of social good, and there is, I think, a lot of opportunities out there where you can mix film with particular projects, like the new film that I'm working on, which is a female empowerment movie, and you can create good out of it, basically. So I'm working on this new project, but also involved in financing other films, including a film around boxing, which is with a UK boxer called Amir Khan, and a refugee-based film on the Syrian crisis.
Oh, okay, meaningful then.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. And you, Trevor, can you speak about a bit of your actuality?
I've been a writer, director, editor for 25 years. I'm here selling a very small movie that is with Michelle Rodriguez, Tom Arnold, Angelica Houston, Tommy Flanagan from Sons of Anarchy, an American comedian called Dane Cook, and Balthazar Getty. It's loosely based on, I made action films for 15 years with Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, Tom Sizemore. And the movie is a strange comedy about when my brother came to visit me. He's dead now, but he was a bipolar schizophrenic. And he came to Los Angeles off his meds. And by day, I'm wrangling Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And by night, I'm wrangling my psychotic brother who caused havoc throughout the city. And it's a small movie that we basically put together with friends and a company in New York and LA called Untitled. The last movie they packaged was a movie called Birdman. And they really liked the script, and I'm just here doing my thing, doing some sales meetings, and just reconnecting with old friends and hoping that we can have an impact in a business as it changes, because the internet and online markets have really meant that everything has changed in a good way, because it enables people like me who are making very small films now to really access an interesting and new audience who are looking for small and authentic stories. Because I think the watchword of the 21st century is authenticity. And that's why My Man Here's film, I think it's a great movie, because it's a tremendously authentic film. And 20 years ago, I would never have discovered it. But now, because of, I can watch it online, I can read about it, I can hear about it. It's a tremendous benefit that the market's changed for the better. And it's a real honor to be on a panel with you.
So speaking about that, Trevor, that you're saying, authenticity, creativity, inspiration, dreaming, there are some words that can describe the cinema world, right? Why is inspiration so important for all of you in your different, fields and in the ways you do movies, or you sell movies, or you act? Why is inspiration so important to have something meaningful?
Because it gives you hope. Inspiration gives you hope, right? And I think if you can empower other human beings to kind of become the master of their destiny and help create their destiny, then you can make a lot of change. When I finished, I did a degree in business management and finance, in film. And what happened was, after that, I did a year of a master's in charity, finance, and law, and I got involved with setting up voluntary organisations. And what I realised was, with some of these voluntary organisations, you can change an entire community with a voluntary organisation, and their thinking as well. Like Paul Haggis has set up and been running a charity for many years called Artists for Peace and Justice, and they raise money every year for Haiti, and they built schools there, and they're educating children. And I think that's really important, because a lot of the world lives in poverty, and as I mentioned before, film being a powerful medium can make a big difference. So inspiration is part of life, and it helps boost all of that.
So right now, the industry, it's full of movies. You were just mentioning something.
Good movies that I used to do.
How can movies, help to promote positivity, social good around the world? How can we make it happen? Like, is it challenging? Is it something that...
It's very, very simple. The studio system is simply about money and about promoting the same old things. And what's happened with the democratization of the arts by the internet and by online stuff, is that ordinary people can tell their stories, and very influential stories, and small stories, like my man here says, that can, whether it be on a grassroots level, change the world. And when I started in this, I wanted to change the world. And what happened is, you end up in it and you're making money and it's fun and there's parties and stuff. And as you get a bit older, you realize, even if you get to the top of the mountain, there's nobody there. It's an empty or Pyrrhic victory. So as people in the arts, what's important to us, I think, if you're a smart person, is if you're any good at what you do, you change the world for the better. If you can tell a story that has a knock-on effect across the world and empowers people to get up, do their thing, live their dream, escape the shackles of their poverty or difficulty, if you can do that, you really are somebody who's truly in the arts. Because anyone else who's just in it for the cash, it doesn't matter. They're instantly forgotten. If we think of great people in filmmaking, they're people, Charlie Chaplin, when he made The Great Dictator, this was a thing that, and it made him a pariah in Hollywood, but at the same time, it illuminated for oppressed people a different worldview, a different focus. And if as artists we can do that, like my man here who's done a thing about Nelson Mandela. Yeah. What an incredible, incredible thing to do.
I was going to ask Kamal that, like, you know, Mandela, you know, you're just saying, I'm trying to have to show a different side of it. So, you know, how challenging is that to go that way and work on it?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that all film is a force for social change, and it has been since the arrival of film. You know, we had the films of Eisenstein, Strike, October. These were political films that were created by the state, but they were to enable people. And the real idea for film, when it was created, was to enable people, was allow people from one side of the world to see what people on the other side of the world were doing. Whether it's good or bad, film has become a commercialized medium, and good film strikes a balance when it bears both its commercial viability and stability and survival with ethical and moral principles. And they're really bound. I don't think there is a truth, but the most important thing is to bind a filmmaker to give his truth. And most filmmakers come from a community or a group of people, an educated environment, and they're speaking for people around the world. One of the difficult things nowadays that most filmmakers deal with is commercial interference. But unfortunately, people always have the last say. Well, fortunately for me. You asked me about the difficulties of making a film about Nelson Mandela. It's one of the easiest things we've ever had to do, because we've had one of the most, or perhaps most honorable and venerated and ethical statesman who spent most of his adult life virtually behind bars in a with great restrictions. And he managed to, when he was released in 1990, continue working on behalf of South Africans, or disenfranchised South Africans. So it was a wonderful thing for me to be involved in that project with Kweku, his grandson, and we had some wonderful producers on the film, all who are into ethical filmmaking and principled filmmaking. And you know, if you're in filmmaking just for the buck, as my venerated friend says over here, you're really wasting your time, and people are going to cotton on very quickly what you're up to. So I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure if it does.
No, that's great. And Elma, you're an actress. You have your non-profit. How easy it's for you to blend those two worlds, social good, non-profits, and being an actress?
En gros, comment tu croises en fait la profession d'actrice avec l'engagement en fait? C'est un peu la question qu'on se pose tous. Comment tu vois en fait l'utilité d'un film, de faire des films, du cinéma en général, pour la promotion du social good, que ce soit dans le constructif, dans le prévenir ou dans le guérir en fait?
Pour moi, en fait, être comédienne, être actrice, c'est déjà un engagement humain. Et c'est faire un film et travailler avec un réalisateur, un metteur en scène qui a un point de vue me permet à moi de transmettre, de donner et de m'élever. Donc pour moi, chaque film est un cadeau qui permet une prise de conscience, déjà par rapport à moi-même, et une prise de conscience qui pourrait toucher même une personne qui voit le film, même deux, même trois, mais c'est déjà beaucoup. De changer le point de vue d'une personne, parce que c'est énorme, et ça me touche. C'est pour ça que je fais ce métier, pour donner et transmettre.
But in the same time, you are a godmother of two associations.
Yes.
And sometimes maybe you can, I don't know, maybe sometimes you think about linked the two of those two fields together. How can it make done? How can it be done for you? What's the possibilities?
Travailler avec l'association, déjà je suis vraiment touchée par la cause des enfants. Et en étant actrice, ça me permet aussi de rencontrer des gens, de pouvoir de parler de l'association à différents médias, c'est important, et de faire connaître l'association à travers aussi mon métier. Donc c'est très lié pour moi. Ça se complète. Voilà.
Yeah. Yeah. Using your image
Yes,
to
for sure, yeah.
to spread this social good to your audience as well.
Yes.
Through sensibilization, through any initiative, even one person
Yes.
is already. This is your gift, so to say. Okay. Thanks.
That's important because Fahar, you have finance movies. Is there a space for socially oriented movies in this whole industry? Do you think it's something that could potentially have an important place?
And if you don't mind, not only be like a documentary, but something that use maybe the same kind of channel of what could be fun, but to promote something more deep, more meaningful. How you see that topic?
Well, it all comes down to the writing. It comes down to the story. It comes down to that screenplay and the way that's structured out. At the end of the day, it's in that content that you're going to have the idea of what you want to change, So I think writers are very important, and things get changed, when they go up the chain, maybe whether it's a studio or it's producers or a director, maybe they want to cut things out. Things get changed a lot by the time they're getting shot. But in independent film producing, you can kind of control that a little bit. And if you've got a particular agenda to, make a particular point, then you can. It's all in the content. It can be done. There's no limits. You got to free your mind of limitations. There is no limits. You can do whatever you want.
So it's up to the guy who does the movie to get engaged more, to get engaged to engage.
Yeah, everybody has to be on the same channel. If one person wants to, turn the story into something completely different, and it doesn't serve the purpose of what it's meant to be for, then then it's not going to work. But generally there are films that I think will be created in the future, and there will be the entire agenda behind it won't be money. It will be for a particular good, and we've seen some of this happening already. Like this, the boxing film I'm talking to you about is a UK boxer who's wanting to get youngsters, not just in the UK but around the world, to be able to channel their anger in a different way. Say he's starting a boxing academy and the documentary covers that, but they might make a feature film out of it, you know? So it all comes down to the idea and the content. That's what it comes down to, and who controls that as well.
Trevor, anything to add to that?
I think that traditionally, landmark filmmakers have always tried to make stories to change the world. And long after the studio system has faded away because their business model is ancient, what will happen is people will still want to tell stories that change the world. Because before there was film, there was oral history. And oral history is really how most of many different non-Western cultures viewed the world. And I think cinema in lots of non-English countries is, non-English speaking countries, is exactly that. And I think that film is an incredible media. Like my man here mentioned Eisenstein. There's so many people, if we look back like that, who really, in a very small way, in a very unique way, changed the world. And if we're not in this, at first we start off as entertainers. And if we can succeed as that, as David Mamet says, 95% of people go to the movies to be entertained, not to be uplifted, not to be educated, but if you can entertain them and bury in the entertainment, whether overtly or covertly, a message for good, then you change the world. It's that simple.
What do you think about showing the world with its realities, but also its solutions? Is that something that you think could be practical?
The world is entirely illusion. The news we see, the newspapers we read, it's all somebody's version of the truth and reality. When I was growing up, there was a group, Special AKA, who did a song, Free Nelson Mandela. It became an anthem of my youth. Without that song, I wouldn't have known that Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years without shoes to fit his feet and all this, the lyrics of the song. So by the very nature of the arts, we can tell a story, we can inform people. So
it's great that he mentioned that, because it does hit your question, which is about truth and reality. Because when that song came along, nobody had seen him. Not many people around the world actually knew what the issue was. And it was an example of one song bringing reality to define illusion that was being created by the South African government at the time. So, I mean, that's kind of a really good example.
In a good way, film, music, what all the folks here do is, in a great way, we take a sledgehammer to disinformation and we try and smash it and reveal truth is always simple. It's only lies that are complicated. And if we can show the truth in what we do in a smaller or bigger way, then we really are the expediters of dreams, and in a way we've changed the world.
When I say connectivity, okay, internet, and then cultural sharing, how do we blend all that in today's world, 21st century, to show the world, you know, as it is, diversity, universality, creativity? What do you think about that when I say those three words, connectivity, internet, and cultural sharing?
Can I say something? I have been thinking about what you've been saying, that we are in a really living, it's a great time for freedom. It's also an extremely dangerous time for freedom. There are a lot of bills that are being passed that are damaging the ability of people to express themselves. The internet, the control of the internet is waging a war at the moment. If people lose, and I always believe that people will never lose. You know, forces get stronger, but counterbalancing forces get stronger equally. But the ability to express yourself right now is going through a really testing and challenging time. It's really important for people to watch this and who are are aware of the issues raised by your wonderful company and magazine, Horyou, which is to force and to make sure that they fight their rights to have their truth told, no matter what it is, whether it's good or bad. I live in a country where we have some terrible political parties, but I will never, ever deny them the right to say what they feel, even if it means I shouldn't sit on the same train as them because of the colour of my skin. I don't care. Everybody has a right to express their own freedoms.
Well said.
Fahar, anything about connectivity, internet, cultural sharing?
Yeah, when you were mentioning that, I was thinking about the power of, you know, words. You know, when somebody goes to watch a film, they'll spread the word by mouth and say something good about a film, and then it spreads, and that's very powerful. And obviously, it ends up on Twitter, you know, ends up on Facebook, and that's where it all kind of starts off. So it all goes back down to when it comes to connectivity, it's also connected to the content. This is what they see. You know, this is all being the platforms are now there for all of this to spread. You know, you got Instagram doing the pictures now, because you know pictures speak 1,000 words. But you know, I saw an iPhone 6 advert recently. It's about the iPhone 6, but it says picture taken by Stan or whatever. It looks like a big professional picture,
Right.
and it's a waterfall and everything. And you know, it's promoting, obviously, whatever, it's promoting the phone. But the point is that pictures speak 1,000 words, and you know, Twitter being out there now, Instagram, Facebook, all of these things are helping to spread the word of whatever you want to spread. You know, so basically, you know, in life, I think there's givers and takers. You either want to take money from the industry, or you want to give. And if you're going to give, you can give, you know, you can give positive and good energy in towards all of these causes and issues.
It's great because I'm thinking about Elma. She has non-profits. She has 2 non-profits. And you know, the power of connectivity, the online world, I'm sure for the non-profit world, showing their work, their documentaries or whatever they do, it's an amazing tool, right, Elma? How is connectivity, internet, and cultural sharing helping the non-profit world to spread the information, to engage with people that care about what you're doing?
La question c'est la connectivité. En quoi la connectivité aide en fait à la diffusion. Ouais, c'est ça. Exactement, la connectivité et ouais, justement voir comment, jusqu'où en fait peut aider ces nouvelles technologies. Est-ce qu'on est à l'aube d'une nouvelle ère en fait?
Oui, en fait, je pense qu'on est vraiment à l'aube d'une nouvelle ère et d'une nouvelle vision, parce que ça va très très vite. Les outils Internet, tous les outils, les plateformes qu'on dispose peuvent énormément aider à diffuser un message, une vision, et ça peut vraiment toucher beaucoup de monde dans un laps de temps très très court. Et ça, c'est super positif pour des associations comme les nôtres qui en tout cas, qui essayent de toucher le maximum de monde. Et la communication, l'image, c'est très important. Ça va directement à l'individu. Et ouais, je pense que c'est super intéressant pour nous.
So yeah, she was just saying that as a matter of fact, connectivity is definitely key, definitely moreover in the 21st century for NGOs and non-profits, because small structures have the occasion to spread so fast with an audience so large than it used to be before. And before it was flyering the streets, maybe making some riots or whatever. And now we have the occasion to have something really concrete and in a snap, almost.
Well, very well said.
You know, we are, of course, we have our magazine. We're a social network as well. And we have 3 keywords for us every time we communicate, every time we speak about what we do. And it's dream, inspire, and act, okay? And when I say that, I want to know what comes to your mind, just to conclude this amazing panel and you know, to continue that path of dreaming, inspiring, and acting. Trevor, what comes to your mind when I say those 3 words?
In a very simple and tangible way.
Sure.
Touching people for the better, and making. My background is very. In America, we say blue collar.
Yeah.
In English, we say working class. Most of the people I came up with ended up criminals or in jail or doing messed up things. I was lucky I escaped that. So what's important to me is, from those 3 words, to touch people for the good and to make ordinary people understand that powerful and positive things are absolutely possible, even for very uneducated, ordinary people, if they trust the fact that dreams are possible for people. If you really trust and you really believe and you really do your thing, magic can happen. That's it.
Thank you, Trevor. Come on.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
When you know, we promote social good, and our 3 keywords are, you know, inspire, dream, inspire, and act. What comes to your mind when we mention those 3 words?
Which are connectivity, inspiration, dreams.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I write and direct, so you know, like one of the things like that. And I was a journalist before, and what I think, I have a healthy cynicism. I'm a bit like Trevor, actually. I don't look like Trevor, but I think we think the same.
Thank goodness. Anyway.
I've actually had the pleasure of working with Fahar before, and we both worked on a film that had social causation. That won, it won the Race and Media Award, and it won a Women's Award. And the ideas within it were to allow people to have aspirations, to make them entertaining, because real life is entertaining, but also to benefit people to have a better life. And I like some really crazy sci-fi blockbusters. I'm not the biggest fan as some as the others, but for me, I really like films that are about normal people and the real things that happen in life. And like in France, and we're in France and we're in Cannes, I like Les Intouchables and Samba. These were apparently, like, the French people think, oh my God, these are commercial films. The rest of the world love these films because they are just about normal people with big problems, just like we all have. And dreams are within you. Dreams are real life. And until you realize that, you're not going to have much for life. And I think it was both. Well, it was André Bazin, the French film theorist, and the New Wave tried to expound the fact that film is the medium of dreams. And so that's what I think. And I also think of, you want to take the red pill or the blue pill. That's what I think.
Elma.
To make the link with the friends, when we say dream, inspire, act, what comes to your mind? Quand je dis rêver, inspirer et agir, qu'est-ce que ça évoque pour toi? Qu'est-ce que ça...
Ah, ça évoque de vivre pleinement et de faire les choses jusqu'au bout et de croire. Je pense que la clé, c'est vraiment de croire et de croire, d'aimer, de donner. Voilà, c'est quelque chose qui me parle beaucoup. Et
de travailler dessus.
Bien sûr.
Bien sûr.
travailler avec amour et persévérance. Et c'est le rêve qui nous permet de persévérer. Si on ne rêve pas, on ne persévère pas. Il faut toujours rêver.
dreams helps to keep going,
Yeah.
to keep moving. That's the final words. Yeah.
And finally, Carl.
With those three words, what came to mind with dreams came imagination. So if people imagine, then you know they can figure out what kind of journey they want in their life, and then from that they can go on to empowering people. I really believe that if you help people get to where they want to get to, you get to where you want to get to as well. So and in terms of the word act is just action. Once people figure out their purpose in life, they can take action and make a positive change.
Well, thank you everyone for stopping by at the Horyou Village. We are going to be here for 12 days, bringing social good to Cairns, and we're very proud to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Horyou.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.